So I just came back from watching Tron Ares a few minutes ago, and it's pretty good. Like and subscribe, everybody. Ring the bell for notifications. I'll see you on the next video. I think that this movie is a lesson in expectations, because critics have not seemed to love it, audiences seem to be digging it, and I definitely fall into the latter. I liked it quite a bit. Judging it as a Tron film is not really the same as judging other franchise films, I think. Tron has always been really interesting for its visuals and how it plays with its concept, but has not always been the strongest in terms of characterization, the actual nuts and bolts of the story that it is telling. Even looking at Tron as a franchise, the last film is kind of a loose follow-up from the first one. If you go into a Tron movie expecting gorgeous visuals, interesting action, and a great soundtrack, great. That's how to prime yourself for a Tron movie. If you're really interested in seeing how the characters in the series thus far have grown and matured and where their lives have taken them, you're going to be disappointed, but also, who are you? I'm not convinced you exist. What Tron Ares has done is it has iterated on the concepts of the technologies shown in the previous film. The first movie is, oh my god, like there is a world inside computers where programs are living beings and people. The second movie is, well, let's explore that, and then that world has all its own drama and politics. And then there's the whole thing about the ISOs in Tron Legacy being this miraculous phenomenon within the digital space, life that should not exist, coming from a digital primordial soup, and having all these implications for real-world science and philosophy, which is a fun idea to play with. And that movie, spoiler alert, concludes with one of those programs becoming real. So this movie is all about the idea of taking things from within the digital world of the grid and bringing it out into our real world. It establishes its rules for how that works in pretty clean visual language. The science absolutely makes no sense. I've seen Tron described time and time again as being a science fiction film. I don't really think that's accurate. Tron has always been pure fantasy because the science makes no goddamn sense whatsoever. In creating real-world versions of digital beings and machinery and stuff like that, they have just said, fuck the conservation of mass and energy. This doesn't matter, this is a hindrance to our story, we're gonna ignore it. What would the chemical composition of the beings that have been brought forth from the digital world be? What are they literally made of? Doesn't matter. Cool shiny lasers go pew pew and then they show up. That's what matters. What's interesting is what this completely impossible technology means for society. It means that we can now cure diseases. It means that we have access to all these resources that we never did before. That's pretty cool. And then we also see that there is this power struggle between two companies over essentially who gets there first. There's an inbuilt problem with bringing beings from the digital world to the real world, which is that they only live for about a half hour, or exist for about a half hour before they just crumble and fall apart. Again, I would love to know what the chemical composition of these creatures are as they just collapse into ash. Like, what the fuck are they actually made of? Doesn't matter. Really doesn't matter. The science part of the science fiction makes no sense, so pay no attention to it. You'll have a better time that way, because once you accept that it's all fantasy rules, the rules do have a logic that is consistently applied. Let's get to the character of Ares, because the movie's freaking named after him. The movie is a character study of an AI that grows a conscience and becomes a hero from a nefarious origin. Jared Leto is an interesting choice in the lead. There's moments of unintentional comedy because you get these like lingering hero shots of Ares, and all I can think of is it's Morbin time. But he actually is a good fit for this role, partially because he doesn't quite pass for human. I just, There is something a little bit off about Jared Leto that does actually work in this movie's favor. I get the sense that as he was doing his computer program discovering humanity shtick, I got the feeling that he was studying bits of Brent Spiner's performance from Star Trek The Next Generation. Would that be data mining in this context? The visuals are incredible. It's really nice to see an action movie with a unique style, even if it's a style that has its origin in 2 other movies before it. Those movies are spaced so far apart that it feels fresh each time Tron comes around. And this is a movie I would recommend seeing in the theaters to get the best impact from its visuals. It's just very, very pretty to look at. The stakes in this movie go higher than any Tron movie before it. I mean, like, in the original Tron, being on the grid was incredibly dangerous. Kevin Flynn was in mortal danger the entire film. Tron Legacy also keeps all of its most dangerous action confined to the world of the grid. In Tron Ares, once the programs come through to our world, people start fucking dying. I was shocked at how violent this movie actually is. Like, I'm used to seeing programs getting killed off in Tron movies, and yeah, a lot of them do die off. But no, like, characters, living, breathing human beings are murdered by programs in this movie, and it's fucking brutal. Really good action scenes. Once the rules for how things work in the real world are laid out, they do really creative, inventive things with the abilities that we've seen in previous Tron movies, like the trails leaving surfaces and stuff. It's like, well, now you get people who have staves that they wave around, and the staves leave trails, and then they kick off of those trails in order to, like, gain better vantage points in the middle of a fight, stuff like that. It's very cool. They iterate on the play, and I think it's a better movie for it. Again, you really have to get over the fact that the science is nonsense. Just ignore that. Forget that. It's fine. It's not that serious. Tron's a fantasy movie. And this one is a pretty good fantasy movie at that. I feel like this movie is going to be a little bit divisive, and understandably, all Tron movies have been so far, but they've all been divisive in the same way. You've had a concept that, on the one hand, makes absolutely no sense, but on the other hand, just lends itself really well to creative visuals, and that's what you need to go there for. So if we're having the same problems with Tron Ares, then it really just means that you're expecting the wrong things from this movie at this point. And given what the other movies in this series have shown you they are, you should be over that by now. I do not think that this movie is hurt by the fact that it doesn't revisit the other characters for the most part. For the most part. Flynn shows up, kind of, in a way, in this film. If he wasn't already doing an Obi-Wan Kenobi shtick in Tron Legacy, that's just absolutely what he's doing now. We don't really follow up on Sam Flynn or Quorra from the last movie. We do follow up on the descendants of Dillinger. His grandson is the person that is engaging in corruption and murderous plots and just general malevolence. And that's fun. And of course, there is a teaser at the end where in order to escape from his crimes, Julian Dillinger digitizes himself and then appears to become Sark, I guess. Why not? I will say, if we're going to be doing another Tron movie, please, for the love of God, don't give me a shitty-looking CGI David Warner. I don't want that. I don't want that at all. Please don't go there. They're probably going to go there. Oh well. Anyway, have you seen this movie? I'd be very curious to know what you think about it if you have. This movie gave me everything I wanted out of it. I mainly went because of the Nine Inch Nails soundtrack, which I realize I barely talked about in this review, and it continues the Tron tradition of, like, each one of their movies has this really important electronic artist doing the soundtrack for the entire film, and it's always good. So, what do you want me to say about it? Smash that like button, subscribe for more content and stuff. Bye. I mean, end of line.